Now, live on WPRI 12 and on WPRI.com. This is Eyewitness News This Morning. Coverage you can count on.
5 o'clock on Friday morning, breakthrough in the investigation into the murder of a Fall River teenager. The suspect, a 16-year-old, captured in West Warwick.
And it's the second time in 2 years that Payless Shoe Source is filing for bankruptcy. Now all of its stores are expected to close their doors for good. And good morning, it's Friday, February 15th. I'm Danielle North.
I'm Patrick Little. We begin as always with Michelle, and a look ahead to Friday. It's going to be a little damp, but also warmer.
It is 5:02. We begin with new details and a story that was first breaking yesterday on Eyewitness News This Morning.
An arrest has been made in the murder of a Fall River teenager. Suspect, also a teenager, captured in West Warwick.
Alexandra Leslie is now covering this update for us live in Fall River.
Good morning. Well, the Bristol County District Attorney's Office says due to the suspect's age, it can't comment any further on the investigation. What we do know is that authorities took a 16-year-old male into custody in Rhode Island last night, and they will be charged with murder. Now, the DA's office says that teen was found across state lines in West Warwick. Multiple agencies from both states were involved in taking that teen into custody. Now, this all stems from a stabbing on Wednesday night. Police responded to a fight at a Fountain Street apartment and arrived to find 17-year-old William Wheeler suffering from a stab wound. Wheeler was pronounced dead at the hospital a short time later. His girlfriend of 3 years spoke to us last night. She told us she would do anything to speak to him one more time.
He just got me some Valentine's Day gifts. I didn't open it yet. He wanted to wait for my reaction. He made me really happy. I wish I could say bye to him.
And this morning, we're still waiting to learn if the suspect has been extradited to Massachusetts or which court the case will be heard in. Reporting live in Fall River, I'm Alexandra Leslie, Eyewitness News.
Developing news now out of the capital city. Police investigating another stabbing. Here's some video from the scene last night. Happened around 8:45. Tuxedo Avenue location near Olneyville. Lieutenant confirms a man was stabbed, but his injuries not believed to be life-threatening. Stay with Eyewitness News for more details, both on air and online.
Now we want to bring you the latest on efforts to avoid another government shutdown. Last night, the House passed a spending and border security bill, and the Senate had passed it earlier in the day. It does not include full funding for the president's border wall. However, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the president is expected to sign the plan and then declare a national emergency to divert funding. In the meantime, we're also hearing from this man, Bristol County Sheriff Thomas Hodgson. He has been an outspoken supporter of increased border security, specifically the border wall.
The sheriffs in this country are mobilizing, and we along with Border Patrol and ICE, we've had it. And we're tired of the Congress putting their politics before the safety of not only the people in the communities, but the safety of our law enforcement community.
Hodgson met with President Trump earlier in the week. You can actually see him standing here to the left of the president in this video.
And speaking of the debate over border security, teachers and immigrant rights activists from around the country will be traveling to El Paso, Texas this weekend to take part in what is called a teach-in.
They're calling for an end to the detainment of children at the border, and some of the teachers are from our area. Eyewitness News reporter Julian Lima is in the newsroom now looking ahead.
Well, Danielle and Patrick, teachers are mandatory reporters, meaning if they suspect a child is being abused, they're required by law to report it to the proper authorities. The group Teachers Against Child Detention believes detaining children is abusive, and they plan to shine a light on that issue this weekend and demand that it end. The 10-hour Teach-In for Freedom will be held in El Paso, Texas on Sunday. Teachers from all 50 states will take turns delivering lessons. They'll focus on a variety of topics, like the effects of trauma on children, what it means to seek asylum, and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This comes as a new federal report showed not all migrant children have been reunited with their families. In fact, between July and November of 2018, more than 100 kids were separated from their parents. 4 teachers from Rhode Island are participating in the teach-in, including Narragansett High School social studies teacher Kristen Hayes-Leet.
I knew what was happening was not right, and what's happening, what is continuing to happen, is not right. As legal and mandatory reporters, we are standing up as teachers together to make our voices heard and to make sure people know and understand what's happening on the border right now.
And I actually met Hayes Lead in June of 2017 when she was named Rhode Island's Teacher of the Year. She'll be joining dozens of other award-winning teachers in Texas this weekend, including last year's National Teacher of the Year, Mandy Manning, who organized the whole event. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Julianne Lima, Eyewitness News.
New this morning, U.S. discount retailer Payless Shoe Stores is now planning to close all of its stores when it files for bankruptcy for the second time. According to Reuters, Payless hit a standstill as more shopping is being done online. The company first filed for bankruptcy back in April of 2017 after slashing its debt from over $800 million. Since then, Payless has been trying unsuccessfully to find a new buyer. Sources say the company is preparing now to run going out of business sales at all of its stores next week, including the location in North Providence. 5:07 on your Friday, still ahead on Eyewitness News this morning.
Both the Ocean and Bay States seeing numbers drop in opioid-related deaths, what we know so far from the Department of Health.
And then later, coming up in sports, it's the Battle of the Rams. A look ahead as URI prepares to play Fordham over the weekend. But first, here's a quick peek at some winning lottery numbers. Well, it looks like the state of Rhode Island is finally seeing fewer opioid-related deaths. We reached out to the Department of Health after learning there was a decline in the Bay State of these opioid-related deaths. And Rhode Island's health department tells Eyewitness News the overdose numbers for 2018 aren't finalized yet. But from January through October of last year, there were 250 overdose deaths. That's a 4.6% decrease from the same time period the year before.
As East Providence's police chief prepares to step down, city taking time to honor him. Retirement ceremony for Chief Christopher Perella scheduled at noon today at the City Hall in East Providence. Perella served with the department for nearly 30 years. 56-year-old was first sworn in as an officer in 1990, rose through the ranks, becoming chief in 2014. More coverage you can count on coming up on Eyewitness News this morning.
After this quick break, right place, right time. A driver inches away from what could have been a very bad accident. More of the moment that was caught on camera. Plus,
it could have killed her, could have killed me, could have killed anybody.
Chunk of ice crashes through a car windshield, sending a child to the hospital. Now police looking for the person who did not clear the ice off their truck.
You're watching Eyewitness News. We're back with your full forecast after this break.
Now, more local coverage. This is Eyewitness News on WPRI 12.
Covering New England now, 6-year-old girl in a car suffered minor injuries. Chunk of ice flew off a tractor trailer, crashing through the windshield of a car. Take a look at the damage here. It happened on Route 495 in Andover, Mass. Child only suffering cuts to her cheek and forehead. Her mother says it was a close call.
I tried to swerve, and it went right through the passenger side window. And I was beeping like crazy, trying to get the guy's attention. The guy looked at my car. He seen I was going crazy beeping, and he kept driving.
Troopers say they have the license plate of the tractor trailer and they're searching for the driver. Bay State Police have issued reminders for drivers to clear the snow and ice from their vehicles to avoid this type of accident.
Caught on camera, a close call at a busy intersection in Burlington, Massachusetts. Traffic lights literally came crashing down in the middle of ongoing traffic. You can see here, look in the middle of the screen. A car just misses those lights as they came down. They almost went right through the windshield. Driver, of course, had to slam on the brakes. Police say the traffic lights were all removed. Apparently, it was a cable that had broke that caused the lights to fall.
5:15 on this Friday morning. We're always excited about Friday. It's even more exciting when the weather cooperates. What's today looking like?
Now, Eyewitness Sports with Yanni Caracas.
Good morning, everybody. Well, following Valentine's Day, the Rhody Rams trying to feel some more love. They've lost 4 of 5 games, but with a week off between last Saturday's loss and the game tomorrow against Fordham, things can turn around here. Ruthie Polinsky has more from the Ryan Center. And that's your sports. I'm Yanni Caracas. Have a great day, everybody.
Yanni, thank you. It's 5:23. Straight ahead on Eyewitness News this morning.
Amazon ditching the Big Apple after pulling out of a major deal, learning how it's going to affect Boston jobs.
Now, more local coverage. This is Eyewitness News on WPRI 12.
Consumer coverage now, Amazon ditching a deal, pulling out of its planned New York City headquarters.
And this morning, we've learned the company will still grow across its tech hubs, including large outposts in cities like Boston. That's according to the New York Times. Now, the New York plan was criticized for its potential impact on taxpayers in the neighborhood. Amazon says it will still be moving forward with its plans with the state of Virginia. But that leaves behind 20,000 promised jobs to New York.
Meanwhile, Google announcing a major investment across the nation. The company says it will spend $13 billion to expand its data centers and offices this upcoming year. The company says the move will create more than 10,000 construction jobs, even more jobs to the company's workforce. Google will also be doubling the headcount at major office locations like Georgia and Virginia.
And now it's time to let you know which local companies are now hiring, as we have teamed up with the Rhode Island Department of Labor and Training to pass along new local job openings here in Eyewitness News. Beacon Mutual Insurance in Warwick, they're going to be hiring a workers' compensation claims manager. You want to find out more? Head to employri.org. Job number 825-186, or you can always just go to our website and click on the Call for Action tab and then the Job Finder.
Almost 5:30, up next on Eyewitness News this morning.
When we come back at 5:30, new details after an arrest has been made in connection to a deadly stabbing of a teen in Fall River. The update when we come back.
You're watching Eyewitness News on WPRI 12. It's coverage you can count on.
Now, live on WPRI 12 and on WPRI.com. This is Eyewitness News this morning. Coverage you can count on.
There's been a breakthrough in the investigation into the murder of a Fall River teenager. This morning, we have information about the suspect.
Once I found out that this gentleman was part of the landing at Normandy, I had to be here.
Strangers honoring a hero, World War II veteran, leaving behind a family he never knew he had. How his service was remembered coming up. Good morning, Friday, February 15th. I'm Patrick Little.
And I'm Danielle North. I want to check in with Michelle on this finally Friday morning. It's been kind of a long winter week. Right, Michelle?
Yes, it has.
Top story this half hour, 16-year-old boy in custody this morning, charged with the murder of another teenager.
Here's the Pinpoint News Tracker showing you where the 17-year-old victim was stabbed to death late Wednesday in Fall River. The suspect was captured less than 24 hours later across state lines in West Warwick.
Eyewitness News reporter Alexander Leslie live in Fall River this morning with the new details.
Good morning. Well, right now we're still waiting to learn if that suspect has been extradited to Massachusetts or which court the case will be heard in. What we do know is that authorities took in a 16-year-old male suspect in Rhode Island last night and that they will be charged with murder. Now, this all stems from a stabbing on Wednesday night. Police responded to a fight at a Fountain Street apartment. They arrived to find 17-year-old William Wheeler suffering from a stab wound. He was pronounced dead at the hospital a short time later. Wheeler was a student at Resiliency Preparatory Academy. In a statement, Fall River Superintendent told us grief counseling will be available for students today. His girlfriend of 3 years spoke to us yesterday. She says, above all, Wheeler will be remembered as a loving brother.
They're going to miss him so much, and I know he's watching over them right now. He loved his little brother so much, and his sister, he loved his sister. He loved their bond. They had a really good bond. They was like best friends.
Now, the Bristol County District Attorney's Office says due to the suspect's age, it can't comment any further on the investigation, but we'll keep you updated as we learn any new details. Reporting live in Fall River, I'm Alexandra Leslie, Eyewitness News.
It is 5:34, and in other news, Congress has passed a bill to fund the government and avoid a second shutdown.
White House says President Trump will sign it into law and then declare a national emergency at the southern U.S. border to pay for a wall.
Eyewitness News reporter Mark Liverman has the latest developments.
President Trump is planning to declare a national emergency today, arguing the situation at the southern border is a humanitarian crisis.
The yeas are 83. Nays are 16.
Yesterday, Congress overwhelmingly approved a spending package to fund the government and avoid another partial government shutdown.
The yeas are 300. The nays are 128.
Included in it is $1.4 billion for border fencing, far short of the $5.7 billion President Trump wanted for a wall.
He's prepared to sign the bill. He will also be issuing a national emergency declaration at the same time.
Declaring a national emergency would give the president the authority to redirect funds from other projects without congressional approval.
Taking from far less important areas.
Democrats are expected to challenge the order.
we will not have an end run around the Congress of the United States.
President Trump himself has argued against it. In a 2014 tweet, he said President Obama was subverting the Constitution because he is unable to negotiate with Congress.
What if it's a President Bernie Sanders and he declares climate change?
The primary concern Republicans have, the precedent it sets for a future Democratic president.
If it's a President Bernie Sanders, then we're going to have a lot more problems than this.
In the latest CBS News poll, 2/3 of Americans said President Trump should not declare a national emergency. Mark Liverman, CBS News.
NFL season is over, but the party is not over for Julian Edelman. He will be in Florida this weekend at the Daytona 500. The Super Bowl MVP will be the honorary starter for the Daytona 500 Sunday, so that means he's going to be up there in that starter stand waving the green flag. As the race begins, he'll be joining another NFL star at the race, Texans defensive lineman J.J. Watts, as serving as the race's grand marshal. Daytona 500 is on Fox Providence on Sunday. We're getting you set Saturday night with our Countdown to Daytona preview show, 10:30 p.m. That is also over on Fox Providence.
It is 5:36 now on this Friday, still ahead on Eyewitness News this morning.
Wild weather out west, leaving drivers on high alert after remnants of a storm, bringing trees and parts of homes down.
And a fired Netflix worker's threat of being armed prompts a Hollywood lot lockdown. The suspect finally behind bars. Eyewitness News covering America. A New Mexico high school student suspected of opening fire inside of a school has been arrested and charged with attempting to commit murder and carrying a deadly weapon on school grounds. According to police, no one was injured yesterday when the shots were fired. The 16-year-old boy left the handgun behind and fled the scene, but was then quickly taken into custody. Students were evacuated. An investigation is still ongoing.
New this morning, Netflix's Hollywood studio put in lockdown mode after a recently fired worker allegedly called in a threat. Officials say the suspect called the former co-worker yesterday, said he had a gun, was at the studio lot, and was, quote, ready to take action. LAPD swarmed the lot, but it turns out the suspect wasn't there. They later arrested him at his home. Police say the suspect didn't have a gun when taken into custody.
Heavy rain, strong winds in Southern California blamed for this scene. You can see what happened to a car when a tree came crashing down onto it, trapping the driver inside. The front end was completely crushed. Driver was rescued. Thankfully, only suffered a few broken bones and is expected to fully recover. The weather, though, also causing a home to collapse into a lake. Part of a wall and the roof of the home came crashing down. All of California has been getting pounded by a storm system that's been moving off Hawaii. 5:41 when we come back on Eyewitness News this morning.
Honoring a hero, a remarkable turnout for a World War II veteran in the Bay State, how the community came together after learning there was no family left to mourn his loss.
And putting your car in dog mode? Well, there's a setting that will keep your dog cool while you're out of the vehicle. Details on how it lets everyone know your animal is safe coming up.
1/4 long, Bryant Bulldogs lost a thriller at home in Smithfield's Sacred Heart, pulling out the win on Valentine's Day. Quick check of today's top local stories.
A Fall River teenager charged with murder in connection with the deadly stabbing of another teen. 17-year-old William Wheeler was stabbed on Fountain Street late Wednesday night and then was pronounced dead at the hospital. A 16-year-old was arrested in West Warwick in connection with the crime. Still not clear what led up to the stabbing. Police are investigating.
Rhode Island seeing fewer opioid deaths. Health Department tells Eyewitness News their overdose numbers from 2018 aren't finalized yet, but from January through October of last year, there were 250 drug overdose deaths. That's a 4.6% decrease from that same time period in 2017. Massachusetts also saw a decline in opioid deaths in 2018.
Providence police trying to find two people they say left a suspicious package outside of City Hall in an office. The building had to be evacuated at noon yesterday. It took about 20 minutes for police to determine it was safe, and they allowed everyone back in. Police say two people had entered City Hall and dropped off a backpack. Authorities are not revealing why they found it to be suspicious.
World War II veteran was laid to rest yesterday in Massachusetts. Fond farewells pouring in as a ceremony attended by hundreds of strangers.
In fact, people from all around the area were there to honor the hero who died with no surviving family. But his goodbyes were far from lonely.
Eyewitness News reporter Julianne Lima has more on how the community came together for his honor.
97-year-old James McHugh, a World War II veteran, died last week with no remaining family of his own. So the public was invited to attend his funeral. Hundreds of people turned out to honor a man they never knew but still admired immensely. A flag-draped casket carried through Bellevue Cemetery in Lawrence, Mass. Inside, an American hero, Private First Class James McHugh.
Once I found out that this gentleman was part of the landing at Normandy, I had to be here. The sacrifices that generation made and the cause that they fought for, they all deserve our respect.
McHugh saw 2 years of heavy combat during World War II. He stormed the beaches of Normandy, an assault so dangerous it left tens of thousands of soldiers dead. But McHugh survived and went on to outlive his entire family and all but one friend, Doris Savigny.
My heart is breaking for her right now because she really, really misses him.
But Savigny didn't have to mourn alone. She was joined by hundreds of strangers who stood in the cold, windy sunshine to pay their respects.
I wouldn't miss him for anything.
But as the number of living World War II vets is dwindling, perhaps we shouldn't wait until they're gone to honor and thank them.
As I was driving over here, I was thinking that it's really nice that all these people were coming today, but he was probably in a nursing home. And it would be really nice if people would visit the nursing homes and visit the vets.
Remember that we have men and women of that generation still among us. Let's make it a point to be present amongst them.
16 million Americans served in World War II, and the National World War II Museum estimates 350 Great War veterans die every day. And as of last year, less than 500,000 were still living. Reporting live in the newsroom, I'm Julianne Lima, Eyewitness News.
Now, here's meteorologist Michelle Muscatello with your Pinpoint Weather 12 forecast.
Here's what's coming up on the road show this morning. Keep the Pat celebration going. Championship artwork from cartoonist Frank Galasso. Plus, Roger Williams Park Zoo returning to the set, this time bringing a new friend. It is a red-rumped ugoti. The road show is at 9 o'clock. Join us then so you can see this red-rumped ugoti on the road show, whatever that is. Isn't it goatee this thing?
Yeah. I don't actually know if that's the way you say the bird's name.
Oh, you don't?
Agouti? I don't know.
Oh.
Agouti.
I like ogoti.
I knew you would. All right.
I like to make things up. As you know, if you watch the show on a daily basis, I have problems with the
Your
English
version
language.
is just as good.
All right, thank you. Up next on Eyewitness News.
When we come back, a new car from Tesla. It's going to keep your co-pilot safe, your furry co-pilot. We'll explain coming up.
Eyewitness News on WPRI 12 continues.
Running errands with your pet, walk in the park, right? Tesla's making it even easier.
The company is trying to keep your furry friends safe in the car. They're announcing a new dog mode. This video is really cute here. The feature allows owners to set the temperature so pets will stay cool when you go to run a quick errand. Feature also will alert concerned bystanders that everything's chill with a note stating, "My owner will be back soon." On the touchscreen, as well as the temperature inside. In the Ocean State, by the way, it is against state law to leave a dog in an overly hot or overly cold vehicle. All right, if you're just starting your Friday morning with us, here's what we're following at 6 a.m.
President Trump planning to declare a national emergency today to get funding for his proposed border wall. We have the latest on that debate.
A suspect arrested in a deadly stabbing of a Fall River teen. I'm Alexandra Leslie. I'll have live details of the investigation coming up.
And the start of the President's Day weekend has some rain showers in it today. I'll have the details on the rest of the weekend forecast coming up.
And your Friday morning commute starting off pretty quiet. If you're making your way out the door, have a closer look at what you can expect if you're heading north. Coming up.
Another full hour of Eyewitness News this morning coming up right here on WPRI 12.
Stick around. We're back right after this break coming up.